You're with the Scubanauts.
Scubanauts, yes, which was misidentified in the video as Scuba Scouts. We have been Scuba Scouts for about 2 years now. We part of the name change that came with that was a little bit of falling out, I guess if you want to call it that, with Boy Scouts in leverage over the name. But we have a lot of support through and with NASA, so it really fit very well for us to become Scubanauts in that context. Our purpose, and we've got 4 of our finest that are sitting here with us today, and actually they're probably more interesting to talk to than I am to listen to. But my responsibility is I'm the president of the Tarpon Springs chapter. Scubanauts has been in existence since 2001. It was formed by a Navy captain over at MacDill Air Force Base by the name of Dave Olson. He's still in the area, and a Dr. Walter Japp. I don't know if any of you all know him, but those two came together, formed this organization, and it's pretty much grown exponentially since then. We recently divided into 2 separate organizations in the Tampa Bay area. We were up to about 50-some people, or actually kids, not to mention the parents and everything that were involved. And we broke into the Tampa Bay chapter and into the Tarpon Springs chapter this past September. And I got, I don't know if it was strong arm talked into or whatever, but I ended up being the president of the organization. Our goal is to guide young men and women in the ages of 12 to 18 years old in marine sciences, specifically underwater marine sciences, and also develop them from a citizenship and from a leadership and community involvement. We train them heavily. Right now we're in our cycle of training the kids to understand the oxygen, emergency oxygen application, first aid, and so forth, because when we go into the summer diving season, that's highly important to us. We also do the SLAM training, which is the scuba life-saving and accident management training that we do in conjunction with the Coast Guard here in the Bay to go work through that. Some of the projects that we've been involved with over the years is the artificial reefs that are in the Tampa Bay area. We've monitored those for Gulf Stream when they put into the new piping process, and the kids have been monitoring that over time to verify how that's all growing, and the artificial reefs are actually building back up in that organization, in that area. And we've also done it in conjunction with NASA up to this point, helping them calibrate their environmental satellites by doing measurements and then calibrating that satellites based upon those things. And I don't know about any of you people in this room, but when I was 14 years old, I wasn't helping NASA calibrate a satellite. And my son was doing that. And I have a famous saying that I'm told that when I grow up, I want to be my son, because he's got to do some pretty cool things. They've gone to Hawaii, did a week in Hawaii working with the University of Hawaii, did a thing called Operation Decline, where in fact Anna Moran was one of the knots that actually was able to go down in the sub on Mauna Kea below, and so and then a number of the kids climbed the mountain and got to do some archaeological dives with the University of Hawaii out there. This last summer, some of the kids went to the Bahamas, and I guess kids is really not a phrase we just recently came up with a motto for ourselves: not your average team, a play on the word not, because that's clearly they're not. They do stuff and amaze me on a regular basis. I found out last summer when they were in the Bahamas, they had a squall that showed up out of the blue. They went in the water, it was crystal smooth water, came up. It was large enough that they were pulling the anchor on a 100-foot boat. I didn't find out about it from my son. Actually, I didn't even find out about it from my son. I found out from one of the dive masters on board who was relaying this experience to me, and I went to look at my son, who was 14 at the time, and he goes, oh yeah, that happened. So these kids, they do stuff that's simply amazing. I've actually seen them have accidents or not accidents, but scuba emergencies underwater, and they react to them, they resolve them, and they come up with them, they get another tank, and they jump right back into water immediately. It's shocking sometimes. But in the Keys is a good example of what we've been talking about, reef restoration. We last summer, we were in Key Largo, a number of the knots got to go onto Aquarius. Got to see at the time they were doing some replanting of some reefs, and they got to talk to the scientists that were doing that down there and get a better understanding of what's going on there. These knots do fish counts, they do reef measurements to see how they're either progressing or regressing. We've got Keith Colassa is our science officer for the Tarpon Springs area, and he's bringing us into a whole new realm into the northern part of the Gulf, which we've never really explored before, getting the seagrass, a lot of the reefs and everything that are up in that area haven't even been mapped yet. So we're getting, and also being involved in all that, the Springs coast from that standpoint. So we're expanding and being able to see how these kids can impact the environment and become long-term. Ben Pruitt, who has been with the program 5 years? He's getting ready to graduate from East Lake High School here in the area, and he's going to USF to go into the marine science program based upon what he's learned here. He'll carry on the things that he's learned in the environment. So we're developing kids and not who are having an impact long term in the area. So that's really our goal. We have just expanded also into Key West. I know it's been mentioned. In fact, we're going down to Key West to help them formulate their chapter and understand how to manage the Scuba Naut program down there. So we'll be doing that next weekend. We've got interest from 9 other locations. So our corporate is actually located here in St. Pete as well. And then we've got interest as far out as Hawaii and as far inland as Kentucky. It was interesting that you mentioned Kentucky from that standpoint. So it's growing, it's getting legs, and it's a pretty exciting organization. I highly encourage you, if you get a chance to, it's www.scubanautsintl.org or .com, either way will get you there, and you can actually see what each of the individual chapters are doing and what they're involved in. It's an exciting opportunity for kids. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Mike, what's the age range of this? Sounds very exciting in the sense that you're helping young people not only get a better acquaintance of the oceans and appreciation, but you're introducing them to the world beneath the waves.
Right.
What's happening under there. It's an extraordinary world. Not many people have had the opportunity to see it, but I think once you experience it, you develop a different kind, almost of reverence for how nature is working under the surface and why we need to preserve. You get a better reason of what we're trying to preserve and why. And I think it's a really good initiative. I like the idea that you're looking at what the kind of long-term impact that these young people might have and that your program seems to be expanding. I hope that we can count on you and the Aquanauts to become part of our chaplain and young people, to engage them more fully, to give them that sense of overcoming fear of the seas. A lot of people are terrified of what's under there without being able to appreciate. So if you can overcome fear with appreciation, I think we'll have made some progress. So
that's not a problem on these guys.
Excellent. Thank you very much.